Welcome to Things Invest, talk about investing, finance, and professional development for today's items only. The investment talk today will be Ethereum ETH. So it's my second posting as of today. Respect to recording time of 9:35 p.m. on Eastern Time. Ethereum currently trading $3,248, up about 0.24% so far. With respect to the overall crypto market, it's relatively, trade on a sideways fashion. With respect to the stable coins, if you categorize Ethereum as well, it's relatively flat, right? While at the same time, with respect to Dogecoin, is relatively flat as well. However, Cardano's up about 7% so far, while Solana seems like it's still enduring the sell-off that we've hit, the $215 level 2 days ago, subsequently hover back down to 199, to subsequently hover back down to 181 earlier today, this morning. It seems like we are still continuing to sell off to hit to the $175.70 at the level. It seems like it's still further dipping right now. And XRP is currently trading on a sideways fashion again, trading at the ideal level for us, the dollar cost average, the $1.06 level at the moment. First, just want to just apologize for my late posting. It's a relatively odd time, or odd hours for me to be posting so late. But I have a relatively good energy, so I felt just some remorse that I didn't pay tribute or at least express my gratitude, knowing the fact that today is 9/11 and me as a New Yorker. I definitely want to take this time to just thank you for the ones that has provided the service for us during the 9/11 time. I wasn't in the country, but I can definitely feel the energy, the solemn, and just that atmosphere that is relatively serious today in the country, right? Especially when I was commuting, taking the subways, and I was relatively close by the ground zero. I was in Chinatown, which is not that far off away from the World Trade Center area. So definitely just want to come back on the channel and just express my gratitude. So I really just want to thank you, and it's my condolences to the ones that have lost their loved ones during the 9/11 occurrence. So back to the news on Ethereum. With respect to the news I've been collecting ever since I was just on the train, right? Just reading up the news, catching myself up to speed. I would say, with respect to the news is relatively, non, statics. It was just non-status. Apologies. It's just more regurgitation news talking about altcoin has been outperforming Ethereum and Bitcoin, while obviously Ethereum and Bitcoin has been kind of dipping ever since the peak that we have hit for respectively Ethereum from the $4,000 mark to now, at the $3,243. So we have lost close to about $800 of a sell-off so far, which is a relatively sizable one if you think about it that way, right? But per our technical analysis video that we've been talking about for the last 2-3 weeks so far, this is something that is expected. It's not a surprise, right? And also it's interesting that as I was reading a lot of the news earlier today, and I've been collecting and keeping tabs, it seems like investors or publication companies are slowly categorizing Bitcoin and Ethereum as a form of stablecoin in comparisons to altcoin. I know Ethereum used to be, the main altcoin as a representative, right? And then Cardano, Solana, and obviously XRP start coming into the equation, and also Dogecoin as well. But it seems like Ethereum is slowly shifting on the other side of the spectrum. It's becoming more of a stable coin, which is something we appreciate, right? Because it means that Ethereum has crossed the bridge, to be on the other side of the spectrum, to be something that institutions feel comfortable holding, comparable to how people characterize or categorize Bitcoin in an asset perspective, right? And then other news talking about with respect to just another regurgitation news, right? Talk about Ethereum transaction fees falls with respect to ever since the 2.0, right? The London fork debut. However, with respect to the surge that we saw on the NFT adoptions and commercialization recently, it seems like whatever goes up really really fast comes down just as fast. So the article is basically talking about the NFT market stumbles, which subsequently translate into the sell-off that we've been experiencing for Ethereum, right? But I would say this is more just a normalization, not really a sell-off, a crash per se. It's more of a correction because whatever goes up really really fast needs to happen just as fast, right? And remember, we have endured a relatively, you know, long durations of a surge, right? Ever since July 20th, we were at the 1750. We hit all the way to the 4,000, right? So that's a lot of buying pressure. And we have been keeping tabs. We had a lot of consecutive positive news, both on the NFT side of the spectrum, to just you know, global adoptions, to talk about like JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs offering cryptos, you know, offerings to the institutional clients, and global expansions as well, right, for the respective investment banks. So these are just you know, something that is has been coincidental, and seems like we are going to be seeing some negative pressure going forward. And I wouldn't be surprising for us to endure some more red pressure in the next 2 to 3 weeks from now, because we've been experiencing 2 to 3 weeks of surge. So for us to go back down to more of a normalized level again, right, the 2,750, 2,450 would be ideal. And a good thing is that the MACD is, you know, is still crossing down, so I don't see any curvature yet. But good sign is that RSI is slowly depleting right now. Is that the 45? And ideally, I would just like be a little bit more patient and just wait until the 35 or below 35, which is the level I ideally want to be buying at when the RSI hits that level, right? So other news is another regurgitation news that we already talked about this morning is with respect to the Ethereum Pets. You know, that's created by the Loot creator, Experimental Ethereum. It's like kind of like a Tamagotchi that I talked about earlier this morning, right? It dies after the launch. So not sure what this is really means. I think just another NFT alternative, I guess. You know, NFT is one of those artistic cultivations in the, you know, in the investments, artistic investments community, right? So seems like this is another pseudo form of it. So interesting to know, more of a trivial, interesting news if you may, but nothing really substantive, right? And that's pretty much it. Another news is really talk about like Jim Cramer on his belief around Ethereum. He's basically screaming to go buy Ethereum right now, which I think technically, in the technical perspective, let's go to the technical now, would be ideal, right? I think the 3,150 would be an ideal level of dollar cost average, and I think we're close to it. And I don't think the level that we at right now is sustainable. But I think, you know, if you want to buy it now, it's not a bad idea. It's definitely a good idea. I mean, way better idea in comparisons to when you would buy the 4,000, right? Because at that point it was extremely overstretched and we were about to cross. So the apex was formed at that point. We knew that. Also, on top of the fact we're overbought on that at that level. Now we're way more normalized. So the risk reward ratio is a lot better, right? But because of the fact that we still haven't seen the signal of crossing back up, I will wait until the curvature to be formed, and also I'll wait until the RSI to deplete a little bit more before I start buying it, right? So let's go back into our cheat sheet, knowing the fact that we are in the anxiety and denial stage right now. It seems like people are contemplating: should I be buying now? Should I be selling now? What should I be doing? I think if we're gonna go through the course of cadence, we're gonna keep going down to the 2,750, 2,450. That's just a matter of fact in terms of like how it's gonna be naturally occurring going forward, right? So with respect to the price level, 3,000, 2,750, 2,450, these are the levels I would be logically buy. And again, I will have a good cash reserve on the side for me to further build up my position, right? I currently have 55 Ethereum. I want to get to 100 someday. And it's gonna take me some time to get there. So I'm gonna continue to sit on the bench, wait for the most optimal level for me to dollar cost average at, and you know, ultimately we'll get to these levels. However, if you bought at the $4,000 level, do not sell ever on a loss, right? Unless you really need the money, right? But selling on a loss, just that's just like giving money back into the market for no reason, right? Time always pays off eventually if you believe in a long-term vision, a long-term value proposition of Ethereum. And long term wise, you know, in the next 12 months, like let's say next year, September, we should technically get close to about $10,000, which is 3.3 times your money from here. Right. So I appreciate you for dropping by again and being such diligent investors and good friends on YouTube. I really appreciate your support on a daily basis. And hope you guys have a good rest of the night or good rest of the morning, depending on where you are, obviously globally. I really appreciate you and have a good night. I'm going to go relax now, take a shower, probably eat some ice cream even. It's my cheat day on a Saturday. So really appreciate you and stay tuned for this. Well, take care. Bye.